Hi, how are you? This is Damaris Maria Grossman, and then this is the Mindfully Integrative Show. And today we have an amazing guest for this mindful chat. Her name is Eileen Franco. Her specialty and guidance for today in integrative health is she is a holistic wellness coach, and she has a wealth of knowledge and so much to share with you on her journey and her path of where she is in integrative health, as I call it, or just a different way of healing and change. So thank you so much, Eileen, for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Damaris, for having me here on your show. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you again. And so share with the audience a little bit about yourself, kind of where you came from, that kind of got you to where you are now. That could be a different parts, maybe part A, part B.
Okay, so I started for many years. I've worked in the corporate world since I was a teenager, and most of that time I spent doing being a project manager. And the corporation was going through some organizational changes. Tried to get out. The market didn't work for me at the time, so I applied for a role. At the same time that I transitioned into a new role, my body decided to transition into perimenopause,
Oh,
and that
goodness.
create and that created a lot of chaos because, as you can imagine, you have to go ahead and prove yourself while you're undergoing this huge physical change. There was a lot. I wasn't sleeping well. That was happening even before the transition. Um, Immense amount of fatigue, immense amount of clarity, no mental clarity, lack of focus, lack of concentration, no energy. It was episodes, symptoms day in and day out. So there was one time I went to my doctor to really get to see what a solution for me to help me. What can she offer me to help me feel better and my body to kind of calm down because I felt like I was in an alien body. And the answer that I got from my doctor was, "Well, get used to it. This is the way it's going to be going forward."
Oh,
Un-
that's
un-
unfortunate.
yes, unless you want medication. So for me, that was like a jaw opening moment, but it lit a fire under me. And what it did was it took me on a hunt and I researched alternative natural solutions. I started reading books. I started following functional medicine doctors. And I became a guinea pig. And being a guinea pig and trying these natural strategies to help me to overcome these symptoms in a natural way because I've never been prone to taking medication. So I wanted something natural and safe for me. And in doing so, I was able to find something that gave me some immediate relief to some of the symptoms, but I still had a long way to go. And while still trying these different strategies that I had learned, there was a change in leadership that ended me in short-term disability with multiple diagnoses. I had a health breakdown, and I was put out on disability with chronic stress, fatigue, insomnia,
Mm,
depression, and anxiety. And these
mm.
are all classic symptoms of perimenopause, adrenal fatigue, and a body that was just not able to function at its best. So that changed my life and brought me up to where I am today.
Oh, good. Wow. That sounds like a small but big story.
Yeah, it, it,
Um,
it really was.
the when you were going through kind of that journey of, well, the transition of your work, you obviously seem like you must have had some dark moments to change and transition from that life. What did you start to do first in that when you were trying to, read books and such? You said you're trying to change your health, right? Or change this situation. What did you
Yeah.
go to first?
Well, what I did was I started to search for functional medicine alternative solutions. And one of
Okay.
those first things was fasting. Fasting really helped to bring down cellular inflammation.
Okay.
And that made a huge difference for me and in how I was feeling and in some of the symptoms I was having.
Mm,
It greatly reduced the episodes that I was having around the clock to, greatly reduce the amount I was having throughout the day.
okay. So you
Mm.
kind of lowered your sugar intake and your overall like food consumption to like what, a 16-hour or 14-hour day?
Well, I really didn't lower much my food intake. I just started to I still ate the same amount of food. I just shortened my eating window.
Gotcha.
I then started to implement more healthier. I thought I was always on a healthy path, since the age of 22. I was inspired by my family to get on a healthy path, not because they were healthy, but because they were experiencing a lot of chronic pain and a lot of issues with the health, and I didn't want to age like that. So when I came into this transition and needed to find what worked for me, I started with fasting, but I needed to improve more of my nutrition. And I did that later on. But the very first thing was really fasting, incrementing my fasting hours. And what
Gotcha.
worked for me was a 16 8-hour fast to help reduce a lot of the inflammation I was experiencing at the time.
That's awesome. And do you still do 16/8 or do you do like a 14 like,
I
you still do?
I still do, and I vary my fast because I wanna. There's different fasts that target different things. So for
Hmm.
instance, an OMAD targets a 1 meal a day fast targets digestion, right? And
Right.
then there's the autophagy fasting. Mostly a 16 8-hour fast that I do. That's what works for my body because at 15 to 15 hours, I was still experiencing crazy symptoms.
You are. Okay. Wow. That's excellent. And you do this for the most part regularly. That's
I
great.
do this regularly well, ever since I had the health breakdown. I did this, I do this every day.
That's
I
great.
vary it
Hmm.
because that's where you become metabolically flexible when you vary your fast, right? You
Yeah.
can't, and then you get more results like that. So
That's
yes, I
awesome.
vary them every week. Every week is a different type of fast. So I throw in this, I throw in that, you know,
That's
depending on what
awesome.
I want to do that week.
Yeah. So from transitioning your, then you said you went into nutrition for yourself, and now you're a holistic and wellness coach. So what made you kind of go from trying to fix your health to now trying to help fix other people's health?
Okay, so what made me? Well, I
Not
think
made you, but what kind of was it? What was the kind of like the Kickstarter for you?
the Kickstarter for me was actually the transition into perimenopause and trying to and figuring it
Mm,
out for myself
yeah,
and alleviating my symptoms and being able to reverse my symptoms and feel amazing,
that's awesome.
and also the health breakdown. So I felt that I needed to become a holistic wellness coach because it was the easier path for me, or the fastest, if you would, fastest to help out there, and help women. So what I do is I help business women to solve their challenges with perimenopause and menopause. Being a businesswoman myself, plus having gone through the transition and knowing how it impacts our daily lives and career, because it affected my
Yes.
career, I'm uniquely positioned to help them reverse their current state of well-being. So I use the same natural tools and strategies that I use with my clients. I help them transition into a healthier lifestyle that better serves them because your old lifestyle or the current one at that up until that point no longer serves you. I help them to lose the weight and to transform to create a transformation so they can recover their well-being.
That sounds really profound. I mean, it also sounds like you've probably have helped a lot of clients. What was, when with your story and helping these clients, now that you are in this part now helping others, how do you feel, or do you have a story of one of them that you'd like to share?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you both if you want. I feel it's very, for me, it's just very satisfying and fulfilling to be able to see how you can transform the health of another person and how they feel amazing. One of my clients, she came to me and she was she felt like she was 9 months pregnant. And it was really a combination of her lifestyle, getting sick, not eating properly. And in 8 weeks, I put her through my holistic program that targets several areas of wellness, which is important for the women to keep top of mind. And she submitted herself through that program. And she has such an amazing transformation. She had high blood pressure, she had fatty liver, inflammation, high blood sugar level. The program helped her so much. Her doctor took her off the high blood medication pills.
Awesome. Oh, so she
Yeah.
went off of high blood pressure medication and she lowered her sugar probably.
Yes.
She
Yes.
felt she
With
modified a lot of her behaviors.
yes, what we the program teaches that the program that I offer my clients teaches them to change, transition, create a transition, but not something that is it has to be slow and increments. If we do it one, two, three, no one's going to be able to adapt that quickly, right? So that's why I teach them the tools and the strategies as well as I transition them to eat better and what they need to eat to help them during this phase of their lives. So that way they can, because really the bottom line, there are underlying causes for these symptoms. And one of them is our toxicity in our body, it's stress and what we eat.
Yeah, I, I agree. I definitely agree with that because
Yeah.
what we put in our body can affect so many things.
Yeah.
When you've been now, feel how many years has it been now since your own situation that transitioned you?
It's been 3 years now.
3 years
3
now.
years.
Oh wow. And
Yes, it is.
every day now, do you feel like you've been, you're in this new kind of like I don't know, I'd say new way.
Of
It's a good,
living. It's a new
yeah,
lifestyle. Yes,
yeah,
I do. And I improve it all the time, Damaris, because there's always, there's always events, right? And you go out to eat and you
yes,
can't
we do.
control what other people put in their food that is not healthy,
Right.
right? So you come back and I feel it right away when I eat something that my body is just becoming
Doesn't what?
that self-awareness is really being mindful and say, okay, I just ate. Let me see how my body reacts, right? So I get to feel that right away. My, symptoms come back with a vengeance. And it's like, okay, that didn't work. So it's kind of like every day you learn more about your body and what it requires for you to support it as you go in this new lifestyle and to also give you the life that you want, because you don't want to be in a body that can't function. And it's sad that many women don't treat their symptoms. In a recent study, there's 73% of women that don't, and that's really sad for me.
I think it comes down to um they're not willing to take their own time for themselves because they
Agreed.
are worrying about others, right? Majority
Yeah.
of them are moms or family members.
Yes.
I've from what I've seen so far with my clients. And then you probably have two. And then at two,
Yes.
I find that it's just they are maybe they're in denial or, it's like almost where you're not willing to see what's going on, right? Because then it means you have to really be real.
No, I totally understand. I totally agree with that. As a mother of three that I am myself, I wasn't taking care of myself. I always put myself on the back burner. And I felt that coming through this journey of having to recover my health and figuring out what works for my body and how I can reverse what I was going through, I felt that bottom line, it had to do with a lack of self love, not loving myself enough to give my body and myself what I needed to be able to take care of everyone else and, not pour from an empty cup, if you will.
I I agree. Not pouring from an empty cup because if I did not, and for yourself, if you did not
Yeah,
fill your cup halfway, you would not be the best version of yourself for others. And
absolutely.
it's hard to see that sometimes. It's hard
Yes,
to
it
see
is.
that. But when you get to that other edge of the from the dark to the light side, and you've given yourself that self love, have you notice, or you obviously have noticed and seen the changes that it can do, and your family probably have they noticed or seen the difference in you?
I have so many women that come up to me and ask me, especially women that are going through this transition. It's like, why do you feel amazing? How do you have libido? Please explain to me, how do you have a libido? Because I lost mine. And why do you have energy? You keep exercising. And women notice, and I have a passion, and I'm on a mission to try to help as many women to get there as well. Because I feel that this life is about that, serving something that's bigger than us, and it's really being in service to others and helping them feel good as well. And it's like you said, we're not aware of it until something happens to our health, and then at that point is when a light bulb goes on.
Yeah, it's like that bottom part, and you go, "Oh, wait, I really do have to make a difference here." And the fact that you're on a steady path and then trying to help others is always like a really important part of the equation.
Absolutely.
What would you like to share? I'm going to have all your information in the show notes for people to reach you, but
Oh,
how
sure.
would you like those to reach you, and do you have a way or an upcoming event coming, or something that you'd like to share with the audience?
Yes, I mean, I have an upcoming event next Wednesday on the 16th at 7 p.m., 8 p.m. is a holistic approach to a balanced body. I'm going to do a webinar and talk about what that really means. Being sometimes we tend to think that being in balance is just diet and exercise. And that was me at first, thinking that it was just diet and exercise, but it's really integrating our whole lives. Holistic wellness does take is beyond diet and exercise. They are a priority, but there's more to it. And I want to educate women specifically on what that is on a general level and then more on a specific level. So I'm having this free webinar that's coming up February 16 at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And you can go ahead and send me an email to sign up, and I can send you the details because I don't have it on my website yet, but I do have it on my link tree. If I could share the link tree with you through the chat, then maybe you can put that in your show notes. Would that work, Damaris?
Oh, absolutely. And I
Okay.
mean, and then if you have it pre-recorded too, that would be great. That webinar at some point too, because
Oh,
it's
yeah. I mean, I'll record it and I can
great,
send it to you. That way you can have it for your clients if that's
great.
very helpful. But let me get you that link.
Yeah, at some
And
point. Yeah, that'd be great. So do you have a little additional info that you'd like to share before we go for the night or the day?
yes, if anyone wants to go ahead and know where to start to, I'm sorry.
No
Here's
worries.
if anyone wants to know where to start balancing their bodies, usually, people don't know where to begin, right? And there are three things that we must do in order to begin, because sometimes women think that I need to go ahead and just balance my sex hormones. No, you can't reach your sex hormones if you don't there's a whole bunch of other things that we need to take care of. There's our hormone system, there's the adrenals, there's the hormone center, right? So I created a free ebook that it's my top 3 tips for restarting to start balancing your body. And you can get that at my website at radiantwellnessco.com. And I'll put that link in here as well.
Oh, that's
So
awesome. Yep,
so
I'll have
here's
that
the
in the show
link to
notes.
so here's the link tree to so they can sign up for the registration to the free webinar. And then I'll get you a link to download the free ebook. They can download it
Awesome.
and they can read what to start, which is foundational. These are things that you must begin with because otherwise you're not going to get sustainable results.
That's so true. That's so true. I
Right.
thank you so much for being on the show and for
Thank you
taking
for
the
having me.
time. And I can't wait for those to reach out to you. And for those listening today, thank you for being on the Mindfully Integrative Show. And make sure that you find a mindful way each and every day. Thanks.